Hey, Terry, what's on your mind today?
Hey, thanks. I was wondering how to respond to the claim that Catholics are the first Protestants and the Orthodox is a true church.
Yeah, thanks. I appreciate the question. So, a lot of things we need to know to answer this question. One of them is, well, which Orthodox are you talking about? Which Orthodox are you talking about? Because there are competing claims to the title of Orthodoxy. You have the largest Orthodox body, which is all the families of Byzantine Orthodox churches that accept the Council of Chalcedon. You have the Monophysite family of the Oriental Orthodox churches of Egypt and Syria and Ethiopia that reject the Council of Chalcedon and have a different orthodoxy. You have the Assyrian churches of the East that reject the Council of Ephesus and also lay claim to the mantle of orthodoxy. They all claim antiquity and they all claim orthodoxy, and they can't agree on which councils are actually ecumenical. So which one are you going to talk about? Which one are you going to talk about? And there's really no way out of that circle, right? Because if you ask an Orthodox, well, how do you know which church is Orthodox? Well, we accept the Orthodox councils. Well, which ones are those? Well, the ones accepted by the Orthodox Church, of course. Right? So it's a circular reason, and you can't really get out of that conundrum until unless God established a living voice of authority that could definitively answer that question. I'll be darned. It's similar to the problem that Protestants have about trying to ask, well, how do you know what the canon of Scripture is? If Scripture is your only authority, how do you know what books belong in the Bible? Well, the ones that God put in there. How do you know what that is? Well, God told me or something. You can't get out of that problem. So similar to the conundrum that Protestants are in. Let's break it down a little bit further. What really distinguishes the Orthodox from the Catholics? What's the line in the sand? Well, it's the teaching of papal authority. Orthodox reject the universal jurisdiction of the Pope. They don't believe that. Pope's not the universal pastor of the church. That's really what distinguishes Orthodox from Catholics. All right, you're going to tell me that position is the one that Christ taught, the one that the apostles taught, the one that the church has always held. Okay, and you think that councils are the way to establish that. Great. Which ecumenical council ever declared that teaching to be heretical? None. None. All right, what confession of faith established it? None. None. Where do we find the claim the Pope is not the universal pastor of the church articulated? We find it in Byzantium in the late 4th century. At the Council of Constantinople, there were some Byzantine theologians that floated that idea.
Like a trial balloon?
Yeah, trial balloon. Okay. Hoping to get the head of the church transferred to Constantinople. What did the universal church say? No, we're not going there. Wrong, wrong, wrong. That's not true. Because everybody in antiquity, East and West alike, recognized that the seat of the church's unity was in Rome. Let me share with you the judgment of an Orthodox theologian about, this is Nicholas Afanasiev, not a Catholic, his understanding of the vocation of the Church of Rome prior to the Council of Nicaea. So we're talking about the earliest period of the church. Rome's vocation, he writes, consisted in playing the part of arbiter, settling contentious issues by witnessing to the truth or falsity of whatever doctrine was put before them. Rome was truly the center where all converged if they wanted their doctrine to be accepted by the conscience of the church. They could not count upon success except on one condition, that the Church of Rome had received their doctrine, and refusal from Rome predetermined the attitude the other churches would adopt. Okay. So everybody acknowledged the authority of Rome. What arguments were put forward in defense of that doctrine? So when they had to justify it, what did they say? Well, it was on account of the preeminence of her apostolic founders and the fact that Rome's bishop sat in the see of Peter. No claims about the empire, no claims about political jurisdiction. No, it was the apostolic foundations of Rome's church with succession from the apostles, heirs of the promises that Christ had made to St. Peter. If you want to look for the earliest doctrines in the ancient church about the authority of Rome, they point to divine institution. And so the novel opinion, the new guy on the block, the one that was not ancient, the one that was not Catholic, was the rejection of Roman primacy, first floated in Byzantium in the late 4th century, and later solidified after the 12th century, after the 11th century, rather, when the Orthodox finally withdrew from obedience to Rome.
Okay. Terry, we hope that's helpful for you. Thank you so much for your call.